Yo guys, so today I'll be showing you one of the oldest graffiti how-tos in the book. It's making your own ink, and pretty much there's two types of ink that you typically see. There's ink, like normal ink, and then there's paint ink. Paint ink tends to be a bit thicker. Basically all you want is, I have some nail polish remover here. You don't need anything fancy, anything special, and pretty much the only reason why you want a polish remover or varnish remover, it goes by several different names, it's because of the acetone in it. And pretty much all that is a clear solvent that you use as a thinner for your ink. Because of how paint and ink and everything like that works, you have the pigment, which is essentially the colour, but then you need something to disperse the colour and something to carry the colour, as it were. You don't need polish remover in particular. You can use, like I said earlier, any solvent. Another popular alternative in America is rubbing alcohol, but if you're in the UK, rubbing alcohol is pretty difficult to get a hold of, so there is several different alternatives in the UK, but I've just tried this one out because it's the cheapest. And if you did want to stick to the original rubbing alcohol formula, but you're in the UK, denatured alcohol, also known as methylated spirits, works fine as well. So yeah, what you're going to need is, like I said earlier, some solvent or alcohol of any kind, and you need 250 milliliters. This is just average measurements, by the way. You can give or take depending on what you prefer, but you need 250 milliliters of solvent to 100 pens. Similar to the solvent, I just got the cheapest pens I can find, and you don't need anything special. Pretty much when you mix black and blue ballpoint pens together, they make black anyway, and pretty much all red is going to do, the black and the blue is going to cancel out the red, and the red's just going to offer you some more pigment. So these are from Wilko's for 30p each, so got 10 packs of these. So yeah, I'll stop talking and get on with it. Now pretty much all the process is we're going to disassemble one of these pens, cut the cartridge in half, put the cartridge in a plastic bottle or a jar or something like that with the alcohol, and pretty much all that does is that alcohol then, because of it being a solvent, brings out the ink from within the cartridge, and then it mixes with the solvent, so then therefore creating your ink. I do recommend wearing gloves, because this ink is like a pain to get off your hands, and unlike most people who tell you to just put your pen cartridges straight into your jar or whatever, I've noticed that while you're cutting them up and everything, the ink already starts to seep out of the jar, and then you get it all stuck at the bottom and it's horrible. So what I recommend doing instead is putting a little bit of your alcohol in at the bottom, so then that at least has something to mix with first. So yeah, I'll start sorting these pens out. But yeah, I've got them all out the plastic casings. There's 100 of these. It was so boring to do, but I'm not going to have to do it again for a while. And all you want to do now is just take the steel tips off and then cut them in half. And pretty much the reason why you cut them in half, if you wanted to, you could even cut them into quarters or thirds. But when they're in your container, whether it be in a jar or a bottle or whatever, it sometimes gets stuck, so then you end up wasting like some of your ink. So, but it's always good to cut them up. All you need to do is to take off the steel tips. You can just do it with your fingers, just simply like that, or you can get a set of pliers, which I recommend because then you can do more to pull. Once you've done, cut them up and taken the tips out, then you put them into your container. So I'm just going to put some of my solvent in my container now. I'm not going to put lots in, but I'm just going to put a fair amount in at the bottom. Yeah. So that's that sorted. I'll now take these tips off and cut these in half, and I'll speed it up so you guys don't get too bored. Right guys, so that is done. I've got all my ink cartridges in my jar, and actually I've just totally thought of something when I was doing it that I didn't remember before. But if you initially put your ink cartridges in a plastic bottle or something like that, because then you can pour the ink into like a better glass jar like this, and then just throw the plastic bottle away, because you obviously don't want all the plastic ink cartridges. But yeah, now all I'm going to do is put the rest of my solvent in. Like so. And although I said you want 250 milliliters, this is just 200, so my ink is going to be a bit stronger than as usual. But yeah, now all you do is wait for a few days, shake it up pretty frequently, like I don't know, once every 2 hours or something. That's what I typically do. It's not 100% necessary though. And yeah, just as a proof, as you need gloves because I've got ink all over my hands. So yeah, I hope the video's been helpful for you guys. Although I said before that you can use pretty much any alcohol, there are some exceptions. One of them being turpentine substitute, which is just used for pretty much cleaning up ink and paint and stuff. You can't thin with it. There has been something said about lighter fluid though, because I know you can thin down paint with lighter fluid, but I don't know whether you can actually use it for ink. But yeah, just experiment guys. Don't bother if it's expensive, because the whole point in you making your own ink is because it's cheaper than buying, you know, like Crink or Grog or something like that. I hope this video's been helpful. If you have any questions, just pop them down below. If you've got any suggestions of what I should do next for another video, just comment. And yeah, this has been HexxInkworks, showing you how to make your homemade graffiti ink. Peace.